On the blue mic, standing in the blue booth, got the blue light mixing on the Bluetooth, blue water, great big blue sky, blue royal hawk, blue fire, blue boxes, like in my blue jeans, blue chucks on fat juice greens. I got a jacket that's made out of blue fox, blue rocks on the back of my blue locks, mixed again, cut with the blue sticker, pop blue beats, green blue pill, shoot it out over dope like the blue hill. Blue beans and 4 big blue wheels, good rap, blue cats, ass, blue blood, and got blue balls, blue walls, blue bug, and got blue balls. The beautiful world, the beautiful car, beautiful girl, it's a beautiful night. My thing bling blue in the light. I'm beautiful when I grind. Beautiful when I shine.
Yeah, blueberry blunt rap, getting blue black.
Blue black.
Late night black in the back of the blue lack. Navy blue long sleeves on my blue tees. Powder blue knockouts on my blue D's.
Right on.
Man, what's up, man? I got a very special guest in this motherfucker. Welcome to the Pimpoholic TV podcast. This is homeboy Maul the Pimp. Very special guest. West Coast original, West Coast affiliate. I'm talking about my nigga, Mr. Mack himself, Spider motherfucking LOC. Welcome to Pimpoholic TV, and how you doing, homie?
Man, what it do, pimpin'? Sure appreciate that welcome, man. That was real warm, real warm.
Yeah, yes sir, man. I appreciate you for tuning in, man. You got an interesting story, Spider, man. So we finna go there. We finna go from beginning to end, and you know what I'm saying. I just want to hear your story, bro. You got a real interesting situation, man. I've been a fan for a while since I heard that song. Actually, then I started hearing other shit after that, which I'm gonna go into that with you also, bro. But
right.
Let's go before the music, man. Born and raised in LA, man. What part of LA you from? And speak on life before the music. How you grew up?
I was actually born in the city of Compton.
All
right. My mother only son. However, I got a few brothers by my father. My mama lived in Compton. My daddy lived like in South Central on the east side. So I grew up single mother, black mother in Compton. She did her best. She had a pretty decent job. She sent me to private school. Tried to keep me pretty sheltered. Went to church a lot. But I also had a father house to go to that was on a whole nother page over there. I had big brothers that didn't have none of the restrictions that I had at my house. So, you know, I got caught up in this LA gangbang bullshit, went to prison pretty young. I've always been blessed. I've always had a gift of speech, poetry, and writing. Has always been just since very young, that was always been amongst my skill set, my gifts. So even at some point, being raised in such a religious environment, I was kind of pushed into the ministry to be a preacher.
Oh, okay.
I've even stood up as an adult and spoken to congregations as like preaching and do it pretty well. So, you know, but the lifestyle and the actual belief system never really fit. He stuck with my soul and my program. So I went to prison twice pretty young, and just the second time going to prison, I had only been out 6 months from the first time I had went right back on some bullshit, ex-con with a gun. I had to sit down for 32 months with 80%. So I'm like, during that period of time, I made my mind up that when I got out, I was gonna pursue my passion with the rapping, with the music. You know what I'm saying? So that was in 1999 when I paroled for the last time from prison. I have never returned. And from that point on, I started making meeting for the first person I can remember meeting that I could call myself a rapper that was on in my mind was Cam.
Oh yeah, well, yeah,
From the
Cam,
West
yeah,
Coast.
yeah.
Cam with a K.
Yeah, I remember Cam.
So yeah, I got the opportunity to work with him, and when I got on the song that I was able to get on his album, that automatically put me on the song with Yuck Mouth, Jail Felony, some West Coast names. So it was like it started picking up from there with Sibo, and Killer Tay, and people like that. I was getting the opportunity to work with a lot of people like that. And then from there, I met Suge Knight. I spent about 2 years in his camp working. Never did a deal with him. But I was blessed to work with people like Corrupt, Eddie Griffin, Lisa Left Eye Lopez, rest in peace. Crooked Eye, Ray J. It was a lot of people on that level that I was able to encounter and work with as being down with Suge. After about 2 years, I parted ways with him. And then just on the fluke, being in Atlanta, doing a whole nother thing, trying to get some money, fucking around, I bumped into Buck Jenner, Young Buck. You feel me?
Hey, pause right there. We're gonna go back. We're gonna come back to that. We're gonna come back. I got a few things. We're gonna come back to that though. All right. The prison situation. You ain't gotta go into detail, but what y'all the first time? What y'all sent you to prison? You ain't gotta talk about the details.
Strong arm robbery the first time, and then I got out. I was sentenced to 2 years. Got out. I wasn't out 6 months, and I returned for ex-con with a gun. So total, I did about 5 years. I was enough.
Yeah, I bet. Hey, let's speak on that, the prison life, because a lot of youngsters, man, you older now, so you know what time. But a lot of these youngsters, for some reason, they think that shit cool. They take that shit like it's a college degree, going to the joint and getting out. You know what I'm saying? But nigga who done been there, every nigga that done been there come out saying, man, that shit ain't what's up, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
So speak on that prison life and why it ain't what's up.
Well, I mean, it's so many negatives. I mean, I can't think of any positives, but it's just the start. I mean, if you value being able to get up and go to the refrigerator or go walk outside whenever you want to, or go get some pussy, things of that simple nature that you do on a daily basis, ain't none of that going on in prison. On top of that, it's just, the violence is not even something I want to highlight. That's obvious. That's apparent. But just your freedom is your most valuable asset. Like, so to have your freedom taken away, it should be obvious. But it's kind of hard for me to try to send a message directly to the mind state that you just described, because I was once of that mind state. I remember when I was kind of anxious and excited to get to the joint. And when I first got the 2 years, I was kind of like feeling like that was cool. I didn't get no gang of time, but I was still a teenager. So I was like, damn, I'm going to be able to say I've been and all that. Like, so I understand that energy. So it's kind of hard for me to speak. The only thing that taught me was experience. Once they got that energy already, it's kind of hard to talk them out of it. You know what I'm saying? I would try to more so speak to the people who haven't reached that point and let them know it's some bullshit. It should be obvious. It's so many reasons now as I've grown and matured why I feel like our youth need to be wise enough to steer away from any type of illegal activity. It's just think, you got to realize as an American, your Second Amendment right is to bear arms. They want us involved in the system with felonies at such a young age, so we won't even be full Americans. You already know they dehumanize us. We weren't considered actual men when they wrote the Constitution of human beings. So now that they have to like technically give us all that, they're still trying to find reasons. or ways, tactics to make us less of a human than they are. And if, as a man, as a human, as an American, if it's your right to bear arms, but yet 60 to 70% of young black men are catching felonies, what does that create? And it creates an imbalance when it comes to those who can legally bear arms.
Right, right.
So that would be one of my main admonitions to the youth, is that as you mature and get past these phases of foolery, you don't want to be in a position where you can't legally protect your family like the next man.
Right.
So those are things to think about, other than a lot of the scare tactics that people usually go to. It's just not a wise place to be. It's no good for you, you know?
Right, right. All right, now we're gonna go back into that. Now you come home, you get into the music game. Speak on how you actually ran into and met Suge Knight.
My big homie, rest in peace, Big Ant, happened to be meeting with him on some whole other shit. And while they was having their meeting, Suge was trying to describe what type of artist that he was looking for. And his description was basically somebody he ain't got to go say from his homies or something like that. And nevertheless, whatever that interaction was, it caused my big homie to call me and say, Suge want to meet you. So shout out to T.Y. I was actually working at that time with a CEO named T.Y. And I had just left a meeting with him out in the valley. And I remember leaving the meeting kind of frustrated on the outcome of that meeting. And while I was leaving, my homie Ant, he had called me on his way when I was on my way to the meeting and told me he was on his way to go fuck with Suge. Or he told me where he was. He was fucking with Suge. He was fucking with Suge through his partner Magic. And so on my way leaving, when he called me back, not only was he still with Suge, he was saying Suge wanted to meet me. So I shot up there to where they was at. And I met him.
All right. Now, the initial meeting, boom, boom. Then to go from that to, I want to fuck with you.
Yeah.
How did that come up? He obviously liked what he saw first impression.
Yeah, he was just sitting there. You know, when I walked up, he was like, I heard a whole lot about you. I said, yeah, it's all true. He was like, yeah, what you got? He was at a restaurant at a table in public, and he was like, let me see what you got. I'm like, you want me to bust right here? I'm like, yeah. So I just rapped. I did like a 16 bars. And he just started saying, oh, yeah, letting me know what his roster was. And, you know, we had an official meeting. And a few days after that, probably a week or so, and then he and I were able to go into the office alone and speak. He kind of gave me an idea of what he wanted to do as far as try to help me with my career and move forward. But it's a lot of things he had to get in place before he can, you know, really do anything.
Right.
And so that turned into a 2-year experience that I was really considered his artist. The very first, I don't know if you remember King magazine.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, their very, 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 very first issue that they ever did was right when Suge came home, and it was us, The Row. And I think that was one of the first major magazines I was in. So that was around the time frame. I've tried to find it online. I haven't been able to find that magazine. But yeah, so I was able to work with, he did, in that period of time, he did put out the Dysfunctional Family soundtrack.
I remember that.
That was, yeah.
Eddie Griffin,
so
it was Eddie Griffin.
Eddie Griffin, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually got a record with Eddie Griffin on that soundtrack, and I did some writing for Left Eye on that soundtrack. So those are experiences that I really hold dear, that I appreciate from fucking with Suge.
Right. Now, okay, you say you end up leaving after 2 years without signing the contract, but
yeah,
what did you, from a business perspective, what did you learn from being in that environment? What did you learn business-wise that you took forward and applied?
I can't say I learned much business-wise.
Okay.
I learned more so of just the inner workings of networking. You know, wasn't much business exposed to me. Wasn't like I was privy to any meetings. If I did learn anything business-wise, it was just through the experience of learning that people would tell you anything. So don't expect. And I'm not saying directly from him. But just in the overall experience, even though, you know, dealing with Suge, it was a fair share of bullshit you had to deal with, you know, misrepresenting the future or what might happen. But, you know, in hindsight, and all in all, he had pretty fair dealings. At least it wasn't much at stake when I dealt with him. Like I say, we had no contract. There was no deal, but it still was some shitty instances.
Right.
And you know, you probably watch him a little closer just because it should. So anything that ain't perfect gonna look like shitty.
Right.
So,
right.
But yeah, I learned in this game ain't nothing guaranteed.
I heard you say one more thing, a real important word that stands out, because I preach it all the time. You just said networking. And I try to tell a lot of these younger artists in my city and artists period who wouldn't listen, man, make sure you network with people. Networking, if you got real relationships, that should take you further than any dollar amount will. Any dollar amount. I preach that shit to motherfuckers, bro.
And just what you got to realize, if you're talking about being an artist, networking is not necessarily with other artists.
Right.
A lot of times we'll get misdirected, having our eyes on artists and thinking that's where your network should be established and strengthened. But there are a lot of more important people that are involved in this process that are not artists,
right,
that are essential for you to be having in your network other than artists.
I'm glad you reeled that in, bro. I'm glad you reeled that in. Now, all right, we're gonna pick up where you started out earlier, the G-Unit situation. In Atlanta, you met Young Buck, and from there it spiraled into the G-Unit. Give us that story in detail. I've heard it, but since you're on another platform, give us that story right there about how the meeting in Atlanta, the Young Buck led to the G. Give us that layout right
there. Well, I happen to know some dudes that knew Buck. So when he got to Atlanta, I happened to be in his hotel room before he even got there, and he was addressing the room about this chain that had got taken, and I interrupted him by rapping, and just, you know, yeah, he was doing all this so deep talking, and he was impressed to the point that he invited me to meet him in California a few weeks later for the Shorty Wanna Ride video shoot. And there at the Shorty Wanna Ride video shoot, I found myself in a trailer with 50 Cent and had not been introduced to him. And then he was having a very important conversation about this same chain. Now with Young Buck and his homies and a whole lot of other niggas that I didn't really know well. And I did the same thing I had done to Buck. I just started rapping and drowned him out. And that bubbled into the situation. He was impressed to the point where, you know, when you look back and see how much of a hoe Curtisha is, for a man just to dominate him and just disrespect him like that and tell him to shut up, it just impressed him. I see how impressed he was that I just marked him out and then displayed my talent at the same time. But, you know, I hear him describe nowadays how in his little punk ass book, how when he walked in the room, the G-Unit artists became intimidated because they no longer were the biggest personality in the room. Well, from day one, day uno, that was the opposite experience with he and I, like. And the fact that he's, you know, some of the things he studied so well, ain't no telling what, when a nigga got his panties in a bunch. Dig alive.
Spider motherfucking low. Hey, so paint that picture, bro. Then the trailer, the chain that's being discussed. The chain, I know you're talking about the G and the spinner that got took in Chicago. I know exactly what you're talking about. So they discussing that. Music not even part of the conversation. And you just bust out freestyle.
Yeah.
In the middle of all that shit. Just bust out freestyle.
Yeah. Well,
and ain't nobody looking at you like, man, this nigga crazy, bro.
Yeah, that nigga 50 was looking at me like that. Like when I did it to Buck, I could tell by the way Buck was responding that I had him. It kept me going. But the way 50 was staring at me, it had me second guessing. Like I thought I fucked up. Like what the fuck is you doing? I thought I had tripped out. He was just looking like showing no emotion, like just stone face. So when I did it to Young Buck, well, pause.
Man, you crazy, bro.
Yeah, that shit just because, I mean, this
man,
nigga, he stank like that on the internet. Cuz stank so bad on the internet, you can't walk nowhere, no room behind him without spraying on air freshener. So,
man, you crazy, man.
Yeah, when I started drowning Buck Jenner out rapping, eventually I kept going until he stopped me. But when it came to 50, I couldn't tell if he was impressed or not, to the point where I stopped and said I could keep going. But instead he was like, shit, for what? No need to keep going. And he had to, after that, his response was,
okay.
But I got to a point where as I was doing it, it had me thinking like I might have messed up.
All right. Now, after that encounter right there, how long after that did you officially sign a contract as being a G-Unit artist?
I couldn't tell you exactly now, but it wasn't no long, drawn-out process. It might have taken up to a year, but there was a lot of things going on that had me like, it was already in motion. But it wasn't no long, drawn-out process. Probably, it got to a point where it took a little longer than we expected toward the end, but I don't think it took a year, a whole year, or if it did, not much. I'm not sure, but it wasn't a long, long time. It's been a while.
Gotcha. Now, once the situation happened and you signed, okay, now Spider Loc is officially a G-Unit artist. That's a whole nother level right there. When did you start seeing the lifestyle change, meaning the popularity, the finances, just the way you move, the way people came at you? When did you see that lifestyle change right there? Was it immediately, or was it once you found seen on TV, or how did that come?
Yeah, it's hard to mark. It's hard to mark a moment. It was just all a part of the whole experience.
All right.
It's just all, you know. Yeah, I can't say uno, dos, tres. It was on, and all those elements became part of what was going on in my everyday life.
All right. Now, Get Rich or Die Trying soundtrack. I love the verse on I don't know. Nah, nigga, I don't know. I love that whole song. Like, you killed that bitch, bro. And another song I like, man. I like Things Change. I love that, bro. I love that song right there. I love the concept and I love the lyrics to it. I would love to see a video for that one, bro. I would love to see a video for that shit, bro.
That was supposed to be, according to Kurtisha, he said that was gonna be the third video off the soundtrack, and he just did something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he just did something different, you know.
Okay. It would have been a major setup right there, bro.
This is not something I didn't ask him, hey, do you think my song could be considered for a single? Maybe, please. This is something he went out of his way to get my attention and announce to me that he was going to do. He had a whole concept for the treatment for the video idea and all that. Oh. And then he just never did it, never followed through.
Okay.
These are the type of experiences I had with Cub.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, Beautiful World. You paid for that video yourself, right?
Yeah. And he called me and told me, yo, B, you know you got a joint. Look like you spent $250,000 on that video, B.
And it do.
He had a whole marketing program plan that he had, that he said he was gonna roll out to promote the record and do this, do that. Never followed up. Okay. It's the only record ever under the G-Unit umbrella that had any type of life success that he has no part in production on it. Not on the beat, not on the writing, not on the hook. He don't have a verse on that motherfucker. He did not service it to radio. Every other record that came from up under that umbrella that we know of, other than Beamer, Benz, and Bentley, that was down the line sometime, these were all official releases. That it just lets you know, it just shows you the sabotage from within. Not only that, during the same period of time, I landed myself on the largest network on television on their #1 show, Cold Case, in a co-starring role alongside none other than Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, okay.
I landed myself on a show called Numbers on NBC, guest starring role. alongside none other than Wood Harris. I landed myself on Weeds. These are all things that I landed myself in a film, an independent film starring myself alongside Master P.
I know about that.
And Parole. These are all things that I was doing for an individual to come a decade later and say, I didn't deliver. On top of the Beautiful campaign that I wrote, produced, and shot the video myself. and you can't, and it's not the obvious sabotage.
Let me ask you this, bro. In your mind, what do you think went wrong? Here go me speaking, before you answer, here go me speaking just from a common sense, if I'm a CEO perspective, right? All right, I just signed this nigga, meaning you. I just signed this nigga, gave him whatever I gave him up front, put my stamp and my imprint on it nationwide. Why would I not put his album out? That's like buying dope and not selling it. You feel what I'm saying? So
there could be a few reasons up until a certain point, but there's a lot of reasons that probably went into it. But I just want to bring to your attention, like he hadn't put many. He had opportunity to put an album out, but he ain't really able to. He's never what he was proposing to do for me. He has never been able to do for any artist. Where is the artist that he was able to? Who has he been able to produce? Where? There's not only the only artists that experienced any type of success under this umbrella were those that were there present and benefited from being there from the initial budget and being exploited as the G Unit when Interscope dropped the Eminem and the Dr. Dre. These people was already part of the picture and they got to experience a measure of success. But even go find a career there that you can be admired from today. What has he been able to establish? So I don't know if it was as much as a personal thing as much as it was he fucked off the whole play when it was my turn. Right around my turn, he fucked off the whole play. He put out an album called Before I Self-Destruct, and he was really under the process of self-destructing in that situation. When he realized the bond that Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre had, and the liberties that Dr. Dre was able to take in that building, he tried to make himself a third part. You see how he started calling himself Curtis Interscope Jackson? When he realized he was the only one of the three that viewed him as Curtis Interscope Jackson, he began to throw fits and do little bitch shit. And he realized he was not as important in that scenario as he thought he was. And that's why you still see Dr. Dre, Jimmy Iovine experiencing success within that realm of releasing music and him not.
Okay.
And I think as much as he mishandled me personally, I think I even more so got caught up in the timing of that becoming true.
Okay. Let me ask you this then, as an artist, because I'm an artist also. Now, if I'm signed to a major label and I got an album ready to roll, I want y'all to back me. I want that budget. I want that promotion. But if you don't, no problem. I release this bitch independent and all the money can come to me. Was it not an option for you, or did the contract prevent that? You know, let me go independent and do distribution, do 100,000 copies, get $1 million myself. If y'all don't want to put it out. You feel what I'm saying? What prevented that? All right.
Shit. I don't even know that, man.
But that would have been my next move. Okay, you don't want to fuck with this dope? I can sell this shit myself, bro. No problem. I can sell this motherfucker myself. I want you involved, but if not, watch this. And watch these numbers, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's something I always want. I always just wanted to know that because you got to, regardless of what the label think, you have a fan base that's waiting on your shit, bro. You feel me? Now, I want y'all to drop it, but if not, they're going to release regardless if I put it out because they are my fans. I might not have 100 million fans, but I got fans that's going to buy my shit. Whether you put it out or I put it out, they're going to buy it. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm not going to wait on you, I'm going to do it myself. You dig what I'm saying? And you got the platform and the fan base to do that shit, bro. You really do. Y'all can go platinum in California. You know what I'm saying? Without even selling no units down south, y'all can go platinum in California, bro. Niggas in Texas can go platinum in Texas. Y'all got the big enough state to do that shit.
Right.
So if the CEO not feeling that shit, no problem. I got it myself, huh? No problem, bro. You did. That's just me talking Spider, though. You know what I'm saying?
No, I ain't mad at you. No, I ain't mad at you. I just ain't had no answer for you. So
yeah, that's me
shit,
talking,
ain't gonna just make nothing up and just tell you some bullshit.
Yeah. Now I got to get to this, bro. What's the problem with Buck, man? What's your problem with Buck, bro?
All right. Other than, I mean, my initial problem was this. At one point, he was trying to convince me to see things his way, and I wasn't seeing it his way. In order to convince me, he told me this. Hey, man, 50 told me he wasn't going to put your album out a year ago.
Convince you to see things his way, meaning once he left?
Fuck all that. You asked me what's my problem with it.
So you saying once he left the label?
Listen, I want you asked me what's my problem with him, right?
Right.
He told me, 50 told me he wasn't going to put your album out a year ago.
Oh, okay.
Fuck anything else. That's my problem with him. A year ago.
All right. Gotcha.
You telling me today a nigga told you this a year ago?
Right. Gotcha. Instead of telling you a year ago.
The day, yeah.
Gotcha.
Period.
Gotcha.
Bottom line. That's it. That's my problem with him. Fuck him.
Gotcha. And let me ask you though. With that being said, say if you would have got that news a year ago, you think you probably could have shit would have went different. Not with you on Buck. I'm saying if you'd have got the word a year ago, he ain't gonna put your album out. You think you could have pulled this nigga to the side and see what the problem was to get the album out, or it would have been no results?
Being put him to the side, and that wasn't the issue. The issue, what album did he put out? When he didn't put my album out, what album did he put out after that?
That's all right.
I'm telling you, he fucked off the plug. The real issue was the whole shit was when I was trying to get a statement of release, he wouldn't give me a statement of release. When I had other interests, I could have just kept the momentum going when he couldn't do it. But he wouldn't even take, man, I had Mack 10 and Brian Turner trying to come aboard with a whole nother bag. What you assuming and suggesting, I brought shit to the table way beyond that.
Yes.
Cuz was not interested.
I got you.
Yeah, cuz he did some whole shit. You go look up who Brian Turner is, and I'm telling you.
From Florida.
All right, so yeah, he and Mack 10
approached me. I'm on my shit spot.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Mack 10 approached me on behalf of himself and Brian Turner to come in and with a whole nother bag. Once it became obvious from the outside looking in that I was on the shelf, back burner. But before it had gotten ridiculous, when it was still, Mack 10 reached out. This wasn't a friend of mine. He reached out, found my number, and when we got on the phone, his first question is, what they doing with you over there? Won't you tell him, let me and Brian Turner put it out and just keep the G-Unit stamp on it. So that means, all right, we got a whole nother bag we're going to bring to the table. We know how to market this West Coast thing. We're going to utilize what you bring to the table. This bitch-ass nigga 50 going to say, oh, it sounds good, what's the plan? All right, I can't really articulate the plan. However, I got this nigga ready to get on the line and put the plan all in. I couldn't even arrange a conversation between the two individuals. So when you thinking on this real nigga shit or where it should have just, if this can't, it should be that. All right, I'm gonna let you know I did all the real nigga shit through the stages, and this how this whole ass nigga responded.
Okay, I got you.
Not only did I give myself in all those acting opportunities, like I told you, that I did the beautiful shit on my own. Then Mack 10 and Brian Turner came aboard as investors.
Right.
And then when it was obvious he wasn't gonna do nothing, and I humbly requested a statement of release because nobody in the game is finna really take you on if you can't prove you're not obligated, you're no longer. So
on the contract,
yeah, cuz know what he was doing. He's a hoe, cuz he did what he did.
Yeah.
As much as you want to look at the legacy and hold on to any real nigga feelings you have toward him, it'll be at your own cost of your own real nigga assessment mentality. He don't qualify.
Yeah.
Tell you, I took a long time before I even ever said anything negative. What I could challenge you to do is search the internet for him ever saying anything positive about me. You can't find him mentioning me few times, and it's always in a negative tone. After all these years.
I see what's going on. I see what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I see what it is.
You seen when the bitch boy Doja, the rapper of the game, was all on his head. There was, I mean, you feel me? Like, cuz just boo-boo. Cuz boo-boo. You see what Vivica say, cuz. We ignore all the signs. Vivica, you know he gave her a bag and a gag order. That's why she just shut up like that. And she been on. You see his TV hand is tight right now. You see, ever since she came on, said that, and then shut up, she been popping on TV. She blocked me before he blocked me. Cause how I used to play on Instagram. That bitch don't know me. What she blocking me for? He told her to block me. Then he blocked me. Cause I used to at him. I used to at him and at her, and I give her props. Like, yeah, you.
I be saying you, bro. I be like, this nigga Spike crazy, bro.
And that whole ass nigga got my page knocked down twice. Now he blocked me after that. Fuck it.
Man, I be saying it, man. I be sitting back laughing at it. I be saying it, man. I be saying it. Let me ask you this. Let's go into this, man. The Black Box Production podcast. Your shit. Now, this is what I like about that, man. It's different. Now, the average artist will do a podcast from what we see, you feel me? The thing is to, use your relationships and your connections, bring other artists on there, and y'all have a real nigga conversation, and y'all talk, and then that spreads to the internet. Your approach is different. When I look at your shit, I look at it, it kind of reminds me of like when the Williams should do that Hot Topics. It's like a ghetto version of Hot Topics. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like Spider LOC reacts to Bam Bam Bam. Spider LOC speaks on Bam Bam Bam. I'm gonna be honest, a lot of shit you speak on, I didn't know it existed until I saw it on there. You feel me? Then I go look up the details after that. You get what I'm saying?
That's right.
Why did you take that approach instead of the normal approach? You get what I'm saying?
To be honest with you, what we now consider, when I say we, I really mean y'all, what y'all considered on the Black Box podcast is actually just a natural evolution of me going live. And the way I got to this point, period, was after like a 7-year hiatus from the game and not fucking around. When I stepped my feet back out, testing the climate, hollering at a few of my partners, one of my partners told me was, you need to go live. Just go live on a regular basis, on your regular day life, show the fans what you're doing, which is not really my stilo. But however, I was coaching my son's football team at the time. So in my mind, that was a time to where it not really focus on me, show what I'm doing, and go live and start getting it going. And on top of that, I always had in the back of my mind a desire to do something. I've seen other people through the years have at home set up to where they was running like a whole TV station on YouTube. And I always knew that was a possibility. So I had that in the back of my mind, but it always seemed more complicated than what I could accomplish on my own. So it was a accumulation of things happening all to come at one time. And when I started going live, of course, it'd only be 10, 13 people in there. And I'm just showing them the kids football. But because of my experiences, they'll ask me questions about and the answers would sometimes involve celebrities. And you know me being candid, just keeping it to Google, I'm gonna say what I know to keep it to Google. And I realized that on certain instances, I might have said something to 15 people, but I wake up the next day and it had 15,000 views because somebody else took it, titled it, and posted it.
Right.
So that I noticed that there was some type of value there, but what really pushed me out there was one of the persons that actually used to take my clips the most started getting in my DM and motivating me. Shout out to Ryan, Hip Hop Classes Daily. Someone I've never met in person until this day. He started getting in my DM and was like, bro, I noticed when I post your videos, I'm getting a lot of traction on them. I think you really might got a future with this shit. You probably should look into doing it on a regular basis. So he started motivating me just to go live. So I started trying to go live every day, every other day on Instagram. and it was kind of building up or whatever. But then after it started getting kind of popular on Instagram, at least for my taste, he jumped in my DM. He started telling me, man, Instagram don't pay, man, go on YouTube. And that man started from scratch all over again. And that was kind of scary. And I'm like, fuck it. We jumped on YouTube, but only like 3 or 4 people watching. And I just started doing it that way. And I'm in the overall, being involved in this industry after so long, I no longer reach out, period. Through the creator and my experiences, I've learned that my days of reaching out, looking for resources are over. I reach within, and I choose to reach within to manifest what I desire. And if I cannot develop what I desire from within and then will what is needed toward me, then I don't want it. Reaching out is exhausting. You leave the results up to the person you're reaching out to. I no longer do that. So every now and then, I've had an outside individual on my platform that has some notoriety, but it has not been me reaching out. It'll be through the natural occurrence of me just doing what I'm doing. I will encounter individuals that express a respect for the platform, and then I might invite them at that point, but I'm not out chasing nobody down, knocking on their door saying, hey. It just ain't in me. What I've realized, like I told you, way back, they tried to push me into being a preacher. The pulpit that was established by the institutions never sufficed me. I found my pulpit now. This is my pulpit. So I'm not really, it's sacred to me. I'm not really into sharing it with any and everybody's perspective. You know, I finally have something to where if the creator has a message that it wants to deliver to me, through me, to the masses, it's not in, I don't need, this is my platform, this is mine. So during time, I have interest in expanding and involving others, but it's not the focus. I want to develop to the most of what I can develop and be me. I'm just more self-reliant than in times past.
Yes. Another thing I like too, bro, what you're doing, man, you're doing the podcast, but you cross marketing. You slicking your music in there with it. You feel what I'm saying? Like the 3 songs that I stood out to me, I love to keep with the Google shit. I love that. And I love EC. I like that. Now I heard another song, that's my day one, I think, something like that.
Hey, Uno. We just shot the video. That's my artist. My artist on the hook in the second verse, Blue Smurf. That's really like an introduction record for him, featuring him. And that's also my producer, my best friend, my partner, the Puto on the beat. Okay. And if you listen close to my verse, I'm rapping about Puto. And Puto also, he introduced me to, I say in the song, in 03, he introduced me to Nip, but it was more like 01. Okay. So, yeah, that's my partner. And yeah, you'll hear a lot. That's Blue Smurf on Keep It to Google too. And we just shot the video today, Uno. I just got a rough draft from the editor yesterday. I'm supposed to get the final copy tomorrow, so kind of looking forward to that.
You might need to trademark that Keep It to Google, bro, and go and run with that. I don't know if you have or not, bro, but that's some.
It's in the mix. On my mama.
We always say keep it 100, keep it 1,000, but they Keep It to Google. That's some other shit, bro. So you know, if you ain't on it out, you know what I'm saying.
No, I appreciate you, Pimp. Yeah, it's in the mix.
You just brought up Nipsey, bro. That wasn't even my question, but speaking on a relationship with Nipsey, man, and just, you know, pay homage, bro. You know what I'm saying, man?
Oh, man, I just love Cuz, like, not because he was perfect or because my experience with him was perfect, but when I look at the beginning and the end and everything, and what we were going through in the most latter part of his life, the last year in particular, it's just that I just appreciate being a part of his experience. I know the whole world has learned to appreciate him, but I had a very personal, intimate experience with the homie. It's not, the whole totality of it is not something that I would choose to try to force into an interview to try to explain. But I think on a daily basis on my platform, and anytime his name come up, I make it obvious that my experience with dealing with Cuz is like none other. I cannot imagine. I don't know if you're fully aware, but like from what I can recall, I gave Cuz his first video. Like the very first video he had on the internet was a feature of mine called "Come Smoke One with Us." And then right before he passed, one of his most latest records he gave to me, and and the story that goes from that first record to that last record is a beautiful story. But yeah, I just appreciate Cuz. My mama, you know, that's the homie. You know, I can't. It's just hard to understand that how long I've been in the industry, and at the time of his passing, he was the only nigga in the industry that I had a real connection with. You know what I'm saying? And he was keeping it a Google. He was keeping it real funky. When he gave me a record called "Count on You," and I had a little situation with a label at the time that was gonna cut a check for the record. So I remember calling Cuz like, kind of like with a lump in my throat, like, hey, I think I could get a check for the record, Cuz. Like, if I get these white folks to cut a check, Cuz, can we split it, or I could get something? And he was like, SP, I don't want no money. I'm like, damn. I'm like, so what if they want to write the check directly to you? He was like, they cut me a check, I cut you a check. It gave me chills.
Real nigga shit, bro.
Real nigga shit. And then before I could wrap that up and lock it up, Cuz passed. And then it's this record that has a producer that has a feature on the hook. Those are two people involved. Then it has a whole, you know how the world reacted. He has a family, home. Nobody really understands that this is my record other than his engineer. I basically got robbed for the record, bro. I wasn't even able to upload it and service it directly from my platform like I would like to.
You got overshadowed with his name.
No, I loaded it and then the distributor shut it down.
I got you.
Yeah, somebody did something. And when you go try to research and figure out who did it, there's no way that they didn't leave no trail. It was like somebody really punked me out my record. But I look at it as a spiritual situation. Cuz no neighborhood. We know, cuz. He know, cuz. Like, he know. Nip know, cuz. Ain't nobody can't tell me nothing, cuz. No crip.
Let me ask you this, bro. On the game.
That nigga walk foot in the black box.
I saw that.
That's the only reason my shit gonna stay the black box is because of Cuz. I probably would have allowed it to turn into something else. That wasn't nothing just set in stone. But now, it's the black box. That's what it's gonna be.
I see players drop at the end of the segments and shit like that.
Yeah.
I pay attention to all this shit, man. I see that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you this, bro. On the gang tip. Now, I don't know if you think like this, but back in the day, we would always hear the LA niggas looking niggas who banging outside of LA like they're not real with. You know what I'm saying? So what's your, I ain't talking about these rappers. I'm talking about just the average, when you go on city to city, you got niggas that's pushing that line everywhere, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like here in my city, I'm in Chattanooga. We got Athens Park Bloods here. We got Bounty Hunters, Skyline, Treetop, 60s, Five Deuce, Main Street. You get what I'm saying? Like, we got all this shit that's out there that's here. And them niggas going hard with that shit, bro. So, well, if you're a nigga that come from out of the country and come here, you might think you in LA. You get what I'm saying? So how do LA niggas look at that when y'all go to other cities and see niggas pushing y'all line?
One thing about it, when you say LA niggas, it ain't no one unified mind. Right. That's what y'all gonna learn as that gang banging splits out. What it does is destroy the unity. So LA niggas, you're gonna definitely have every spectrum. You got some niggas that look at it and love it. We turned the whole world out. Let's go out here, find the homies out here, see what they doing. Right. And there's some niggas that do stand back and look like that's corny. And then you got everything in between. Me personally, I have different reactions to different shit I see. I got homies that's out of town gangbangers that I don't pass no judgment on the fact that you're not from the Mecca. I understand the way things matriculate and spread out. Right. There's elements of right here in California that if you ain't from Compton, LA, Watts, Long Beach, then you can have that and Long Beach is just something I threw in because it's later with the rap they got included. If you're not from Compton, South Central, Watts, there's an element right there that everything, even right here at home, outside of that is out like,
okay.
Long Beach, everything like so. The further it get, of course, it's gonna seem the most. But I mean, hey, what can you do? It's been like that.
Right.
I mean, what one thing I've always wondered is if you were going to adopt the culture. I just never understood how you can be from 60th Street and it ain't no 60th Street right here where we at. And you was gonna be from Crip or whatever and take our. It just seemed like me personally. If I was from out of town and I had some cousins, family, homies come from the land or whatever, and they from Phi Deuce this or whatever, I might take the last shit they got, the Gangsta Crip, but I'm gonna look up and say I'm on 21st Street in my city, or I'm on 33rd Street in my city. We gonna be 33rd Street Gangsta Crip. That's just why I didn't never understand why that wasn't more of the process versus I'm from this street, I'm from that street, because from means this is where I be doing my stuff at.
Right.
I'm from here. This is where I'm at. This is where we do it at, on this street. Bam, bam. So to be from that street is like, that always threw me off. But I understand the influence of the lifestyle. We neighborhood Crips, we Gangsta Crips. That can be expanded. But if you a neighborhood Crip, it seems like what neighborhood you grew up in, Jonestown, Ohio, or whatever, or I'm a Jonestown, Ohio neighborhood. That's more of what I would have thought the natural process would be. The only thing that I never could quite click with or understand, and it might be being programmed, because from young, Ice Cube was doing music about this subject. And I remember he was like, what did he say, my summer vacation, nigga say, stepped off the plane. But he talked about how you go out of town, he was going to St. Louis selling dope, and you got niggas, one of the lines, he like, down for a street they ain't never heard of. So it's always been something that was highlighted that, damn, it's crazy. Out of town niggas will go hard, and for a street they ain't never even seen. So it was always something that seemed like ironic. But I don't knock nobody for, I think any and everybody should have thought twice before they got involved in the gang, no matter where your origin is. But when you do look at out of town gang member and they from, just say 43rd Street in their town, but they claim it's 60th Street in LA, that just never really, I never really understood that.
I get that. I want your perspective on that. I get what you're saying. Now, man, I want to go into some personal shit, bro. I want to paint a picture of Spider that people don't know. I heard you say you coach your son's football team. So speak on that, man. We ain't talking about the music. We ain't talking about.
I ain't got much more time though.
All right. What is something about Spider that people don't know the way they listen? They're like, damn, okay. I didn't know. I
told you earlier. I preached before. I know that should qualify.
Yeah.
I'm a grandfather.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm a longshoreman. I took piano lessons before. I can't really play the piano, but
all right.
I don't know.
Well, before we get out of here, Spider-Man, what you got coming soon that people didn't know about that we didn't cover? You feel what I'm saying?
Day Uno video gonna be out any day. Blue Smurf 2021 sometime. Right. We got the LOC EP, the Illiterate EP, the Politicking EP, all available on all digital platforms right now. Also the Wake and Bake soundtrack, You Ain't Heard, all new releases that came out since my hiatus has been over in 18. What else? Shush. BaymaxStreetwear.com. Go tap in for the fly gear. We got it. Spotted Loc Most Easty is the YouTube station. Follow up on IG. That's Spotted Loc Most Easty, the number 7. And we just Baymacking, Bay Machiavelli style.
Spider motherfucking Loc. Checking in. West Coast Legend. I appreciate you, my nigga, man. Again, much love.
I appreciate you, Pippin.
For sure, homie, for sure.